welcome back for the very first time to the channel. I am Will, and today I'm going to be giving my mid-month update for August, even though we're beyond the middle of the month. Sorry, I've been a bit behind, been very busy, went away for a few days to different places, and yeah, just been pretty hectic with work as well. And so yeah, it's been a bit of a delay. There's been less on the channel lately, a bit more shorts, because obviously the clues in the name, they're short and they're quicker to record and then get up. So yeah, there's been a bit less on the channel. Same on the Brothers Gwyn, because if you do not know, Brother Ed has had a baby, and so yeah, his first child, and yeah, he's pretty busy with that, but he's loving it as well. But yeah, there'll be more on the Brothers Gwyn soon as well. So as I said, this is my mid-month update. So if you've not watched one of these videos before, basically I talk about the books I've read, what I'm currently reading, what I aim to read next, how I'm getting along in the month, and so on. And then at the end of the month, I do monthly wrap-ups with my brother Ed, and so we look at everything I've read, and then another video looking at my TBR for the next month. But this is the in-between. And so far I've read 4 books, and my aim at the beginning of the month was to read 9. And so I am behind, and I don't think I'm going to reach the 9. I'm a bit closer to the 9 than 4 would suggest, even though I'm filming on the 20th, because I'm quite significantly through some of the books I'm currently reading. And so yeah, let's get right on into that. And so the books I've read first, I read Ghost on the Throne, which is some non-fiction which was recommended to me by Library of Alexandria, because he said that he loved it. It was non-fiction looking at the aftermath of the death of Alexander the Great, and then how kind of his kingdom split apart into different segments, and how many of the influential players got the influence from Alexander and how they used that and utilised it afterwards. But then also I really enjoy kind of the look at Alexander and how the difference between how he maintained power and influence and authority over his subjects, and what was lacking from those who followed him. And so yeah, that was really interesting. James Rodman I thought he gave a great balance of, I don't know too much about the period, but he would give you foundations, a basic understanding, and then he really expand into other areas which are a bit more niche but really enjoyable, very much more specific, but in a way where, as I said, you don't get lost. And so yeah, he's fantastic, and I will definitely be checking out more by him. And then next up, I've Winter Steel. This is the 8th installment, I think, of Cradle. I've been reading one a month, and yeah, I start in January, so yeah, it must be the 8th installment, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It feels like this is one that felt much more closely linked to the installment before, whereas before, each story, whilst there's the same cast of characters, they feel like it's a different mission each time. Winter Steel, it did have much that was different from the previous installment, but I actually really enjoyed kind of that difference in that it was far more closely linked to the story before, the book before, sorry. And yeah, I thought that made it very fresh, especially when you're getting into a series this long. You need things that kind of change that, not just to the characters and the story, but narratively, the structure as well. And yeah, I've really found that Will White did that brilliantly with Winter Steel, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One of my favourites of the series so far, for sure. And then I have Heroes of Chaos by Baptiste Pinson Wu. This is the 2nd installment of the Three Kingdoms Chronicles. I absolutely loved the Yellow Sky Revolt book, which is book 1 of the series, and I've done a review of it for the channel actually. And yeah, it was historical fiction at its best, and so I had very high hopes, but I was a bit tentative, thinking, can that be followed up? And it really was. I absolutely loved Heroes of Chaos. 5 out of 5 stars for sure. I'd give it more if that was possible. But it really took the really great cast of characters that we have at the core, and the kind of epic scope of these historical events, and the coming of age story continues here. And I really love the academy in the first one, but I love how that kind of evolves into Liao Hua actually becomes a soldier in this. He's a ranker, which is kind of at the bottom of the military. And I love the training that we saw there, and the relationship with those that he's fighting alongside. He's more of a player instead of a spectator in the 2nd installment, as obviously he's a bit older now. He's still a teenager, but he's old enough to actually have a bit of impact on the surroundings and events transpiring around him. And I really love that evolution and how that impact on character is explored, because when you can impact things around you, then obviously you feel that responsibility, and the consequences of your actions, obviously you will have to face far more of those on a grander scale as well. And so yeah, I really enjoyed Heroes of Chaos. Fantastic 2nd installment, and I cannot wait to read the 3rd installment, which is Dynasty of Killers. And then the last book that I've read so far this month is Valor, book 2 of The Faith and the Fallen by Papa Gwyn. I may be considered biased, but it just blows my mind every single time I reread one of these books, how much Papa Gwyn, how much depth he has to each of the characters. Even characters that are only in it for a few pages or a few chapters, they have complex family relationships of all of those around them, real raw, rich histories that you can really tell with the way that these characters interact with each other. And I just love the dynamics that Papa Gwyn has with all 80 to 100 characters that must be in this book. And yeah, and we obviously have characters that I absolutely adore. Corban, Storm. I love all the animal companions. So many more in Valor. I love the ones in Malice, but the ones in Valor, we have more of those. And yeah, it's just such a fantastic book. And if you've not read The Faithful and the Fallen, what are you doing? And I reread this, and it's the first time I listened to it as an audiobook, and absolutely loved it. And Damien Lynch is a fantastic narrator. And I've been rereading them because we will be doing chats with Rekindled Reader and my brother Ed, and RJ reads as well. And so yeah, we'll be doing those chats on each instalment of The Faithful and the Fallen at some point soon. When the dates are decided, I will let you know. But yeah, that is Valor, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I think I'd be kicked out of the house if I didn't like it, but I'm being honest, and it is one of my favourite books of all time. Now, it's interesting. I think usually I'd rank Valor kind of as, I think, for it the least out of the 4 books, even though I still adore it, but I think it may be amongst my favourites now that I've read it again. And so yeah, we'll see when I finish the series how I would kind of rank them. It's so hard to rank them because I love them all for so many different reasons. But yeah, they are the 4 books that I've read so far this month, and now let's get on to what I'm currently reading. And next up I have The Prophet of Adan by Philip Chase. This is book 2 of the Adan trilogy, and I have been lax. I do not know how I've not read this book yet. It came out over a month ago now, or just I think a month and a day ago, and I don't know how I've not picked it up yet. I absolutely adored The Way of Adan, and my brother Ed has read The Prophet of Adan. He also loved the first installment, but he said this is even better, and the things that he's described as kind of being better, I won't say because it might involve some spoilers for book 1. He hasn't told me spoilers for book 2, but he's told me kind of characters who are take more of a central arc and so on and so forth. And the way that he's put it is that basically I'm going to love it more as well. And so I cannot wait to finish this. I've only read about 4 or 5 pages, but immediately I'm sucked back into this world. And yeah, Philip Chase just has brilliant prose where it's quite stripped back, quite efficient, but it has a bit of an ethereal feel, which, as I said, is very immersive, and it really feels unique to the world. And so yeah, I really cannot wait to power on with this book and finish The Prophet of Adan. And so yeah, that is one book I'm currently reading, and the other is Golden Sun, which I'm listening to. This is a reread, book 2 of the original Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown, and I thoroughly enjoyed my reread of Red Rising. I loved it even more than I did the first time. I think the first time I wasn't quite sure what I was expecting, and so that threw me a little bit in the sense that it was a very different book to what I'd heard. But now going back into it, and I love how Pierce Brown, he obviously planned, or he made it seem like he planned anyway, which is an achievement unto its own, and with all the characters, all the bedrock, all the little ideas, all the kind of roots that take place that many do not take fruition until book 2 or 3, and so obviously when you're reading book 1 you may not appreciate them as much. And yeah, it was really interesting kind of seeing that in book 1 and seeing how Pierce Brown obviously planned ahead, and it makes the impact of book 2 and 3 far more powerful because of that planning. And so yeah, Golden Sun, really enjoying it. And this is where Darrow, I think, he makes mistakes. I know he makes mistakes. I was going to say, I think it's where he becomes a bit more complex in many ways, where he's a man on a mission on book 1, and he still is in book 2, but his loyalties are a bit more divided because it's become a bit more complex as he's making friends amongst those who he previously saw as enemies, and he's seen it's not all one-sided, and it's not black and white. It's not all the girls are enemies and everyone else is friend. It's far more complicated than that, and he has to try and kind of get his way through this maze of trials and tribulations that are thrown his way, whilst trying to keep those who he likes and loves alive, which is very, very difficult in the world that Pierce Brown has created. And so yeah, they're the 2 books that I'm currently reading, and then what am I going to read next? And so I have, first up, The Hunters by David Ragg. My brother Ed read this and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's fantasy with kind of a western spin, and it's got kind of at its core that kind of group trope where you're kind of getting a band together. I believe so anyway, and I love that trope, and I love kind of how when it's done well, obviously it depends on the author, sometimes it's done and it falls a bit flat, but when it's done well, I think it's one of the tropes with kind of the greatest potential, because I am a character driven reader, and when you have these characters interacting with one another, you have so many relationships growing at the same same time, and I love to see how kind of events kind of divide or bring these people closer. It's probably the favourite times I've seen it. It's Kings of the Wild, and probably before they're hanged as well. And so yeah, really looking forward to reading The Hunters. And then I'm going to be listening to Misery by Stephen King, one of his most famous books, about an author who some terrible things happened to him by an overzealous fan, shall we say. And so that's all I know. I don't really know much else. I think, is it James Caan is in the film, the adaptation, which was many years ago. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to, I will probably be watching that after I've read it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading Misery. I've thoroughly been enjoying every Stephen King book I've read, basically, and the most recent of which was Pet Sematary, which I listened to just over a month ago, and I was really positively surprised by how much I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the philosophical edge to the story, which was very powerful, very emotional at times as well, and very evocative as well, and it was thought-provoking. It was making me think about it and the issues it brings out in my own time when I was away from the book. And you know a book has an impact and is powerful when it does that to you. And so yeah, Pet Sematary, really great read, and I'm looking forward to powering on with some more Stephen King with Misery. And then the last book I'll be talking about is He Who Drowned the World, the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, which I read 2 years ago now and thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, wow, to be back in this world, the way that this ends is utterly shocking. And yeah, I'm still rocked by how Shelley Parker Chan ended this first book, and so I'm looking forward to seeing kind of where book 2 takes us. I think mostly I've heard great things about it. I think a few people, it's been a bit of mixed opinions from a few people, but overall it's been positive, and I'm really looking forward to reading book 2. And so yeah, they are all the books that I intend to hopefully try and get through. I think I may be able to get through them all except He Who Drowned the World, which may be pushed to September. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching. There are the books that I've read, currently reading, and aim to read next. Please let me know how your August reading month has been going. And again, apologies for being quite quiet on the channel lately. And as I said, things have been going on. But I'm back and hopefully have a bit more free time in the weeks to come. And yeah, I'll be getting ready for uni. And so as we kind of get into the next few months, the channel will be taking a bit more of, not a uni focus, but obviously I'll be talking about what I'm reading at uni, because I'll be studying English and history, which are obviously two reading heavy subjects, and so that'll be a lot of what I'm reading whilst I'm there. And so yeah, that will probably change the channel a bit, but hopefully you enjoy kind of that variety, because I'll be reading a wide range of books and genres and subjects. And so yeah, there we go, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. As I said, let me know the books you've read so far this month. How is it going? What are your goals before we reach September? Everyone, thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.